3, 2, 1.
The G-force pins you against your seat. Your chest feels like it's about to collapse under the weight of 3 times your own body. This is the moment every astronaut dreams of. Then comes the silence. You've made it. You've survived the most dangerous part of the journey. You are officially in orbit. The view is breathtaking and the mission is a success. Or is it? As the adrenaline fades, a different kind of terror sets in. One that you can't outrun, because it's trapped in here with you. You are now inside a multi-billion-dollar masterpiece of engineering, yet your brain is starting to scream that something is terribly wrong. In missions like Artemis 2, 4 humans spent 10 days inside a space no larger than a small SUV. No private rooms, no hallway to walk down, no escape. Just you, 3 crewmates, and a void that wants to kill you. Why does being in a space capsule feel so incredibly bad? It's not just the lack of space. It's a biological and psychological puzzle that NASA is still trying to solve. To understand why, we have to look at what happens when your senses lose their home. The first question everyone asks is, we can build giant space stations, so why are the capsules so tiny? The answer is a brutal reality of physics called the rocket equation. In space, every extra pound of room requires a massive amount of extra fuel to move it. Look at the Apollo missions from 50 years ago and the Artemis missions of today. Despite decades of technological leaps, the habitable volume, the actual space where humans can breathe and move, has barely changed. Because Artemis 2 is a lunar mission, it has to do something the International Space Station never does: re-enter Earth's atmosphere at 25,000 miles per hour. To survive that heat, you need a massive heat shield. The bigger the capsule, the bigger the shield, and the heavier the ship becomes. The result? Space agencies are forced to shrink your world to the absolute minimum. But it's not just the walls closing in. Every inch of free space is packed with life support systems, computers, and food supplies for the 10-day journey. You aren't just in a room. You are inside a machine that is wearing you like a glove. However, the real nightmare isn't just the lack of centimeters. It's what happens when your brain realizes that in this tiny box, the floor you are standing on might actually be the ceiling. And that's where the biological chaos begins. On Earth, your brain is constantly talking to your inner ear to figure out where the ground is. But the moment you're floating inside that capsule, your inner ear tells your brain you're falling, but your eyes tell you you're sitting still. This is called space adaptation syndrome, and it's a polite way of saying your body is panicking. In such a cramped space, there is no horizon. You can't look at a distant tree or the ground to stabilize yourself. Every wall looks the same, and your crewmates are floating at weird angles, making your brain feel like the entire room is spinning. In the Orion capsule, you are never more than an arm's length away from another human. You can't walk away to clear your head. You can't even turn around without bumping into someone's knee or a floating cable. For the Artemis 2 crew, this isn't just for an hour. It's for 10 days straight. And while the biology is a mess, the mission is just getting started. Because once you leave Earth's orbit and head for the moon, the walls start feeling even closer. Let's talk about the specific challenge of the Orion mission. In the International Space Station, if you feel overwhelmed, you can go to a different module. You can find a corner to be alone. But Artemis 2 is different. This mission was a journey back to the deep space era, a 10-day trip around the moon in a vessel that is effectively a high-tech lifeboat. 4 astronauts, Reed Weissman, Victor Glover, Christina Koch, and Jeremy Hansen, shared this space. With no bedrooms to sleep, they simply tether their sleeping bags to the walls. You are sleeping inches away from the person you've been working with all day. As they were toward the far side of the moon, the psychological distance grows. They are further from Earth than any human has been in half a century, trapped in a space smaller than a typical office cubicle. Every small habit your crewmate has, the way they breathe, a repetitive sound, a nervous tick, becomes amplified. But the walls closing in isn't just about the physical space. It's about the air you breathe and the things you smell. Because in a closed loop, nothing ever truly goes away. On Earth, we take fresh air for granted. You open a window and the wind carries away the smells of life. But in a space capsule, there are no windows to open. Every breath you take has been recycled through a machine dozens of times. 4 people, 0 showers, and 10 days of constant sweating in a pressurized can. Astronauts from the Apollo era described the smell as a mix of burnt gunpowder, sweaty locker room, and metallic ozone. And it never gets quiet. To keep you alive, the capsule has to be loud. Pumps, fans, and electronics create a constant 60 to 70 decibel hum, about the same as a vacuum cleaner running in your living room 24/7. This acoustic stress slowly wears down your patience, making the walls feel even closer than they actually are. You are traveling through the most beautiful environment known to man, but your daily life is a sensory battle against noise, smells, and stale air. When you're trapped in a small box, time starts to warp. There's a psychological phenomenon called third quarter phenomenon. It's the moment when the excitement of the launch is gone, but the end of the mission still feels light years away. This is when the mind begins to fray. This is why astronauts aren't just pilots, they are masters of social geometry. NASA spends years training them to manage conflict in tiny spaces. They learn how to be assertive but not aggressive, and how to give each other mental space when physical space is impossible. They are trained to be the perfect roommates in the worst possible apartment. But even with training, the stress is immense. Your brain is in a state of hypervigilance. Because you are so close to the machines keeping you alive, you hear every click, every hiss of a valve. You know that only a few inches of aluminum and carbon fiber separate you from a vacuum that would boil your blood in seconds. It's a fragile balance. You have to trust your life to 3 people who are just as tired, smelly, and stressed as you are. So, if it feels this bad, if it's this difficult for our bodies and minds, why do we keep doing it? The good news, we are at the end of the small capsule era. While Artemis program is a necessary step back to the moon, ships like the SpaceX Starship or inflatable habitats offer something the Apollo generation never had: volume. We are finally building ships designed for humans, not just for cargo. So why do we put ourselves through it now? Why do 4 people agree to spend 10 days in a high-tech closet? Because every uncomfortable second in that capsule is a lesson. We are learning how to survive the most hostile environment in existence so that one day, space travel won't feel like a nightmare. It will feel like home. The physical pain, the smell, and the mental strain are the price of admission for the stars. Every mission like Artemis is a bridge. We endure the tightest spaces today so that the next generation can have the freedom of the galaxy tomorrow. Space travel feels bad because our bodies aren't meant to be there. But our minds were meant to explore. After seeing the dangers of being trapped in a space capsule, you might think mealtime is the only break astronauts get. You couldn't be more wrong. Eating in zero gravity is a logistical minefield where a simple snack can turn into a critical safety hazard. Forget everything you've seen in sci-fi. This is the hidden reality of space food. Let's get into it.